Hello, and welcome to our final alumni vlog for this school year. I will truly miss doing these vlogs for our alumni. I'd like to start off by thanking our board of directors for their unwavering support for our school, our executive leadership team for their commitment and dedication, the members of our COVID-19 steering committee who have worked tirelessly, and all of our faculty and staff who worked day in and day out throughout this entire pandemic. Everybody has worked so hard and come together as a community, but we would not be a community without our alumni. Our alumni texted, checked in with us, and sent generous donations and gifts. We're so grateful to our alumni. Thank you. Before I talk about the COVID-19 pandemic and the work that the school has done, I think it's important to address the current events. Oppression, discrimination, and bigotry will never be tolerated here at the American School for the Deaf. I know that the world is facing difficult times. The COVID-19 pandemic and the protests that are happening across the globe have hit us hard. I grew up in New York City. I was part of a diverse community where we always viewed each other as equals. But still, in America today, we witness oppression, discrimination, and bigotry. Enough is enough. We must come together. We must support each other. It's okay to have your voice and say your piece and to have passion. But to do things by being violent and destroying property, I hope that our alumni would not be part of that, and that instead they would come together and have these open discussions, have this honest dialogue, so that we can reach equality for everyone. And that is something that ASD is so proud to support. Now I'd like to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic. Many have asked what the school has been doing throughout this time, and we've been sending out weekly vlogs and communications. If you click on the web link provided here, you can access those vlogs and communications to learn more about what's been happening at our school. In accordance with the governor's executive order, our school will remain closed for the rest of the semester. With that in mind, you may be wondering why I'm wearing a suit and tie today. This is not my day-to-day attire, but today I'm recording videos that will be part of our ASD virtual graduation ceremony. While this is a difficult time and it feels strange that we can't be together to celebrate this event and have to do so virtually, I felt it was important to wear my suit to honor and recognize this special occasion for our senior class. The tie I'm wearing is part of my long-standing tradition where I gift the males in our senior class with an ASD tie for their graduation. Some have asked what we're doing to recognize and honor our senior class. We've placed a large banner at the front of our school's driveway, as well as lawn signs throughout our campus to honor the members of our senior class. This has not been an easy time, but I shared with the senior class that while the past 3 months have felt long, it's only a small part of their journey here at ASD. These months will fade from memory over time, and one day we will be together again. We still have several programs running at our school. Our educational program continues to offer online learning opportunities through an online platform. PACES, our residential treatment program, continues to remain open with 33 students on campus and 120 staff members working with those students. Source Interpreting continues to provide interpreting services, and while most of those services are virtual, there's also some in-person interpreting services being offered. What's most impressive is that when you see the governor's press conferences, it is our Source interpreters providing access to those live press conferences. Birth to 3 continues to operate and has moved to providing services virtually. PPT and IEP meetings to discuss student progress and educational goals are being conducted by phone or virtually. I've received some questions regarding our plans for the summer and whether or not we will proceed with ESY Summer School and Camp Isla Bella. We will be proceeding with ESY summer school this year. For Pacey's ESY, some students will participate on campus while others will continue with remote learning. For our core program, we've evaluated our students on a case-by-case basis. While the majority of core will continue with remote learning, a small group of students with more intensive needs will either come on campus or we will go to their homes to work with them. For summer camp at Isabella, I very much anticipated moving forward with camp until the governor issued another executive order prohibiting any overnight summer camps, allowing only day camp programs to run. We're concerned that allowing students to attend IB on a day camp basis could potentially increase the risk of an outbreak of the COVID-19. Therefore, we've made the decision to close IB this summer to campers. However, for the Pacey students who have been quarantined on our campus, we will open IB for 4 days of day trips to the camp. We're so happy they have this opportunity. All ASD events have been canceled until August 15th. At that point, we'll reevaluate what the guidance is from the state of Connecticut before we proceed. Many have asked how we make our decisions as we navigate this pandemic. At the very beginning, I established a COVID-19 steering committee. Initially, we were meeting on a daily basis, but now we meet twice a week and eventually will go to once-a-week meetings. During our committee meetings, we discuss how best to move forward as a school through this pandemic. Our decisions are based on the guidance that we're receiving from the CDC, from the governor's office, the State of Connecticut Department of Education's Special Education Office, DCF, the Office of Early Childhood, the Department of Public Health, and any other state agencies. We're working very closely with all of these groups. Our academic program has continued to provide remote learning opportunities through 2 platforms, working either through Zoom or Google Classroom, depending upon teacher preferences. Our teachers have worked closely with families to develop schedules that worked best for them so we could accommodate each family's individual needs. Our staff offered students and their families flexibilities with these schedules, including shorter sessions and evening instruction as well. I am so impressed with our dedicated teachers and their willingness to give their time to our families in this way. We're also continuing PBIS in the home and offering virtual sign language classes for our parents. Those classes have gained momentum and popularity. It's amazing to see how the parents are able to learn sign language and immediately interact with their children. It's a great opportunity that I'm sure will continue. We continue to stay connected with our students and their families through Google Meet sessions and Zoom sessions. We also have many school-wide projects that have been moving forward. We're offering counseling services in groups virtually. And many of our individual departments have initiatives that they are taking this opportunity to move forward on. Nobody is taking a break during this time, and I'm so impressed with how hard everybody's been working. I know people are wondering what our students are doing. For the Pacey students that are staying here on our campus, they've been working closely with teachers to print, assemble, and mail packets to the students at home. And they've been doing so by working closely with the RCs in the classroom and coordinating these efforts with the teachers. Our counselors have been amazing, working very closely with our students to ensure that their mental health is being cared for. We've been working very closely with all students and staff on this important issue. For Staff Appreciation Week, that tends to be an annual event for our school, but this year we decided to do a Staff Appreciation Month, and we sent out thank you bags to all of our staff. These bags were assembled by our students who did some wonderful artwork to decorate those bags. We're so thankful to our students for their participation in Staff Appreciation Month. ESY and Summer Camp. ESY is our extended school year program. Some students will be taking their classes on campus while others will be working remotely. Camp Isabella will be open as a day program for just a limited time for our PACE students who have been living on campus. We may be able to open that program up for other students depending on how the state's reopening goes. We are currently in phase 1 of that reopening plan, with phase 2 being planned for June 20th. If all goes well and the state continues their reopening plans, we may be able to bring more students to Camp Isabella. Some have asked about what the fall will look like and what the future holds for us. And I've got to be honest, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be able to tell you what that's going to look like. But at this point, no one knows for certain. However, we're exploring multiple scenarios, whether we continue with online learning or we're able to be back on campus in person or have a more hybrid approach with some online classes and some in-person classes. We're currently working on different scenarios for our 2021 schedule. We have to wait and see what the guidance is that we receive from the state of Connecticut, but once we receive that information, we'll be sure to keep you all informed. Many of our school districts that have deaf and hard of hearing students may be struggling to support those students, so we're working closely with them to be able to help their students. We also have a soft opening for our audiology department that will start June 3rd. Their services will be limited to ear mold fittings, hearing tests, and cochlear implant mapping. We'll proceed with the opening only on Wednesdays to support the children who need those services. Most of all, we know that our students can become always able, and they do so when our staff come together to help them grow and thrive. Now for enrollment. Up to around March and April, our numbers were healthy. They stayed steady at 149. Since the onset of the pandemic, though, we've not had any new student referrals. We completely understand that that process is on hold. However, we have developed a virtual admissions process, and I know we will have a few more students coming in. I am still concerned about enrollment, but I remain optimistic. I know that things will get better, and we will see those numbers grow once again. As you can see with this chart, we are still on an upward trend for enrollment. Our graduating class this year has 13 students, and so we are hoping to gain 13 more in the upcoming year. We typically trend to about 20 new students per year, so we hope that trend continues, but we need your support. You alumni are critical to helping our enrollment numbers grow. We recently sent out an employee wellness survey to get a sense of how our staff is feeling during this pandemic, if they're feeling supported. And I have to say, I was impressed that 90% of our staff are feeling very supported. We did have a smaller number, about 10% of our staff, that felt we needed to be more supportive of them. And so we are working closely with them to identify what they need. We know this is a difficult time for everybody, and so we want to rally everybody together and provide the supports that everybody needs. We have a few other things I'd like to share, some highlights. First of all, our students have not been satisfied with the food services they've been receiving and decided that they wanted to establish a food services committee interview group. And so they came together and interviewed 4 different food services companies and finally selected a new company called Brock and Company. I really applaud the students and their advocacy and work towards this effort. And so we are welcoming Brock and Company to our ASD family July 1st. I know some may miss our old food services company, but I don't want you to worry. I am sure the Brock and Company will prove themselves. And I have said to them already, I don't want our alumni to be disappointed, and they promised alumni will not be disappointed. I've worked very closely with CEASD that have been hosting online meetings called Sharing Challenges, Finding Solutions. These are online meetings that have been happening every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's been a gathering of various deaf school superintendents and administrators talking about how to find different strategies for navigating the COVID-19 pandemic and the different issues facing our deaf schools. All kinds of topics from IEPs to inequalities, all different kinds of topics, mental health of our students, our staff. There have been so many interesting subjects, and we've really involved those healthy discussions as deaf schools work together to navigate this current pandemic. We've also been working to establish a new online education platform that will benefit not only our students here at ASD, but deaf and hard of hearing students across the country. I know people are wondering about the Gallaudet Monument. It is still underway. We have a deaf artist, Stephen Peterson, who just started his work on the finger spelling and the hand shapes for the word Gallaudet. This is just a draft and it is still a work in progress, but I am so excited to see the Gallaudet Monument come together. We are still planning for the unveiling to happen October 24th if all goes well. Recently, I had the opportunity to take part in several media news stories. One media story was done by Fox 61, a local news channel, around the importance of clear masks. We know our students rely on facial expressions, some rely on lip reading, and still others rely on auditory inputs for communication. The masks that most people are wearing now are truly a barrier to those communication modalities. We decided to raise public awareness around this issue by partaking in several interviews. We're now working very closely with one company that is working to develop clear masks. They'll be sending us samples this week, and after some testing, if we find them to be effective, we will order a large supply to be able to ensure that our staff and students are not only protected, but also able to communicate. It's so important. I also was part of an interview with a radio station regarding clear masks. And then I had a fun opportunity to meet with a program called the Sound Off Ladies. These are four wonderful ladies, and if you've not had the opportunity to see their show, I would encourage you to watch. They're a great group of women, and it wasn't so much of an interview, but more of a conversation, and we were able to talk about the future of deaf education and how things will look in the years to come. I know that deaf education will continue to thrive. Also, I had an opportunity to have a conversation with Joel Barish from Deaf Nation. Nancy Leibach from the California School for the Deaf, Riverside, and myself were able to join in for a conversation to talk about the future of deaf education. We know that the West Coast and the East Coast look a little different. However, we are still working very closely together for the very benefit of our children and our students. They are ultimately what's most important. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you all have a wonderful summer. If there's any more important communications, I will be sure to be in touch again. Stay safe, stay well. We miss you all. So long.